Nicole, you and I go together like peanut butter and jelly, or in my country, cheese and fish.
Where's that?
Chilistan, dude, that's what's up. Our major export's potassium. This is a hot dog is a sandwich.
Ketchup is a smoothie.
Yeah, I put ice in my cereal, so what?
That makes no sense.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
What? Welcome to our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich, the show we break down the world's biggest food debates. I'm your host, Josh Scher.
And I'm your host, Nicole.
And so I'm not actually from Chile. I'm first gen, non-Chilistani born.
Do all other countries have inferior potassium?
Yeah, well, Uzbek potassium is pretty solid. Kazakh potassium, honestly, it's been going downhill for a while.
Yeah.
Chilistan, we're really on the rise. Elon Musk has a lithium mine there now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Great.
No, but Nicole, my general food philosophy, I would describe though as Chilistan. Because today we're talking about why does cheese supposedly not go together on fish?
Where does this come from? Can you tell the people? Because I think this is a little bit silly. I think it's a little bit rash.
I also think it's silly and rash.
Yeah.
And I think anytime you paint with such a massive brush in cooking, right?
Yeah.
Cheese. Lots of different cheeses, right? Ricotta has like so little in common with like paneer, has so little in common with
cheddar.
Brunost from Finland with
Love
cheddar,
Brunost.
with cheese whiz, right? It is a massive breadth of cheese. And fish, what do you even call a fish?
I think
Is a clam a fish? Salmon has more in common with chicken than it does a clam.
I will say, I guess seafaring.
Oh, the seafaring adventures of the clam.
Blimey. That's not what pirates say.
Anything that lives in the ocean or potentially freshwater.
I think this is okay. So we can categorize cheese as whatever what falls under the umbrella of cheese.
There's legal definitions of what cheese is and isn't.
I think we can go with like soft cheeses to hard cheeses, and whatever falls in between that spectrum, I think is fine to classify as cheese. The softest being what should we do?
Now, what's the Icelandic? Skyr.
So
Skyr
is the limit?
legally cheese, and I think that is the lowest cheese.
But it's
Skyr is almost yogurt at that point. But there are, like fromage blanc.
Sure.
There are like very, very soft cheeses. Cream cheese, stracciatella, stuff like that.
Cream cheese is an interesting case for cheese and fish because of the great, incredible crab rangoon.
Wait, you went to crab rangoon instead of bagels and lox? Actually, that's almost the most Jewish thing you could do is go to crab rangoon instead of bagels and lox. God, do we love Chinese food?
I love crab rangoons, and I think wow, you're so right. Why did I go to bagels and lox?
Have you ever seen it went viral? It goes viral almost every year, especially among Jews on Christmas, but it's a sign on a Chinese restaurant that says, "Dear Jewish people, we do not know why your God insists that you eat our food on December 25th, but we're grateful
for it." Yeah, I think it's so funny. I don't eat a lot of Chinese. I've only done that like 4 times in my life.
I used to eat, because we used to take my grandma out for Chinese food, and she ate somewhat kosher-ish.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
At the end of her life, she was kind of just like degaff.
Sure.
She's from Degafistan. But
wow, no way. Neighboring countries.
Neighboring countries. Yeah, the civil war between Chilistan and Degafistan was brutal.
I mean, why would it be a civil war?
What?
Were they once united?
Yeah.
Chilistan and Degafistan, where it was, what was it called? Childegaf?
That's kind of a beautiful metaphor for how any conflict starts. No matter how many similarities you have.
I don't know all of them, but continue with your
We used to go eat halal Chinese food on...
with Uyghur food.
Uyghur food, yeah, from Xinjiang.
I've never had Uyghur food, and I really need to.
If you ever wanted like a saucy brown sauce tofu with leavened bread with sesame and scallion, it is so good.
Sounds like my
What a treat.
jam. On the subject of crab rangoons, though.
Yes, great crab.
But let me
Cheese.
tell you. Let me tell you. Cream cheese.
Whoa, solved it.
Stop. Listen. Cream cheese almost isn't really a cheese because I think it's a unifying ingredient, almost like mayonnaise, almost like yogurt. So I don't know if considering you've done this a lot on the show, which always kind of rubbed me the wrong way and irks me. Whenever we have, I've told you this before to your face many times.
That adds up.
So whenever we have like recipes that need to involve cheese, for example, if we were making like enchiladas or something, or mac and cheese, you would use cream cheese as the cheese, and that would be a cop-out.
No.
Yes,
There's
yes.
one time that I've done this, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It was the burger battle with Johnny Raizone.
No, it wasn't. It was the Kit Kat mac and cheese, and I got so mad at you.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. That's what it was.
You use cream cheese and mascarpone instead of using quote-unquote actual cheese.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And like, if mascarpone is considered a cheese, which I believe mascarpone is legally defined as a cheese, at least by American standards.
It is.
Maggie, if you could Google this, that'd be huge. But I remember talking to my Italian roommates back in the day, and I said mascarpone cheese, and like, bro, it's not cheese.
It's cream.
It's cream, but is mascarpone really a cheese? Spreadable cheese. I mean, this says it is a cheese. I mean, we got to define what cheese is, right? Cheese is you take active bacterial cultures. Typically, rennet is used, and then you add that to milk, and then it some sort of coagulates and ferments. The degrees to which the degrees to which it coagulates and ferments is variable.
Varies.
Ricotta is probably the simplest, or farmer's cheese, or cottage cheese, as they will call it, is probably like the simplest form of cheese, where you literally separate the curds. You don't even need rennet. You need 3 ingredients or 2 ingredients. You need lemon juice and milk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's going to separate the curds from the whey, and then you strain it, and then boom, you got ricotta. So that's like the baseline definition of cheese. And then if you take those curds and you compress them and you bind them in different bacterias, and then you age them, you let them dry, you get something like a Pecorino Romano, which is a cheese that dates back thousands upon thousands of years. They used to give Roman soldiers just little wedges of pecorine on their march, which that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
You know? And so there's a whole like wide breadth of cheese. And then you get something like a mascarpone, which is then like blended in with fresh cream, or burratas blended with fresh cream.
Do we in this, for the sake of this podcast, consider cream cheese, mascarpone, farmer's cheese, to a cottage cheese, all of these like potted, like wet expressions?
I know
of
what you mean,
cheese
like a soft cheese.
Do we consider these things cheese? Because I would consider goat cheese a cheese.
Yeah, 100%.
But
you mean goat cheese isn't like chev?
Yeah, chev is definitely cheese. But whenever it comes to like stracciatella or cream cheese, I feel like calling it a cheese for the sake of this argument doesn't really match.
I know what you mean, because it's much more similar to like cream, whatever. But there are some people that still would not mix any dairy with fish. And when I say some people, we're talking about one people.
Italians?
There's one it's Italians. This all comes from Italians who are just kvetching about rules that have sort of been made up somewhat from scratch on what traditional is or is not.
But I love shrimp Alfredo.
I also love shrimp Alfredo.
What the heck?
And I think the combination of flavors generally goes very well together. If you were to ask an Italian person, and the cookbook author named Giulia Della Croce has talked a fair amount about this, they would just say that, quote, the delicate nature of seafood is overpowered by cheese. And that is a thing that I have heard from chef on chef. This came up, I was recently triggered because I was watching Top Chef. I made a troll of a recipe once.
No way.
Spokane style pizza. It was a joke about all these regional pizzas that people get all worked up about, like Altoona style pizza with American cheese.
Ooh, Altoona makes me mad.
And so I made a pizza with strawberries, canned salmon, and mozzarella cheese. Said it was from Spokane. It was an absolute joke. I thought it was funny. And I did it deadpan because I don't know, I'm some sort of not neuronormal or whatever they call it.
Okay.
But anywho, so Padma Lakshmi quote tweeted it, and she was like, cheese on fish is never okay.
Never?
And I was like,
she had a tuna melt?
I was like, what? No, it's salmon, strawberries, and mozz. Like, that's bad. But cheese and fish is never okay is a ridiculous thing for somebody who has traveled the world.
Never?
This isn't to single out Padma, because
No.
every Top Chef judge has said this. Anytime somebody mixes cheese with fish.
Gail?
Even Gail. Even Tom.
Not Gail.
And it doesn't even come from, I rail against these rules that are from French cookery, right? There's a delicious French dish called moule au roquefort.
I'm going to guess that means mussels with Roquefort cheese.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
great.
have to guess? Like, I feel like that's just in the name. Like,
Yeah,
moule,
what do you
like
mean? Well, not everybody can speak
I
French.
guess low-hanging fruit's low-hanging for a reason. It's ready to be eaten,
Yummy.
so you take it. But like mussels with Roquefort cheese is not popular, but it's a dish that exists in the French culinary canon.
Okay.
And then you look around the world, Nicole, and there are so many good cheese and seafood dishes.
Sure.
What are your favorites?
Tuna melt.
Tuna melt.
I love tuna melt.
American diner classic. And you know what?
Good.
Italians, tuna melts are older than spaghetti carbonara.
Yeah,
Spaghetti
get
carbonara
wrecked.
invented in 1944. Tuna melts predate that.
I love tuna melts.
Same.
Bagels and lox, crab rangoons.
Well, let's analyze the tuna melt for a sec. What's your favorite cheese on a tuna melt?
Cheddar.
Cheddar, right? Cheddar is a very strong
cheese. Yeah.
You know, not hard cheese, but like a semi-firm cheese.
Sure, yes.
But it's like the cheesiest of cheese. When we think of cheese, we think of cheddar.
I think of cheddar. No, actually, I think of a cheese that I never see, which is it's Swiss in like design, but cheddar in color. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like a cartoon
Tom and Jerry,
cheese. Like a cartoon
Tom and
cheese,
Jerry
yeah.
cheese. Like, have you ever actually seen that cheese ever?
Never. No, that cheese
Me
does not
either. It
exist.
doesn't exist, right?
It's like a Jarlsberg.
It's Jarlsberg adjacent, but it's more yellow than Jarlsberg.
I had Jarlsberg recently, and I was like, damn, this is a delight.
Really? I had it recently. I said, why does it taste like nuts?
I love the nuttiness.
I didn't like
love
the nuts.
The Jarlsberg, man, floored me. I hadn't had it in like years.
But like, I love cheddar cheese on a tuna melt. But I think the reason why it works is because the tuna salad that goes on top is mixed with a bunch of stuff like mayonnaise.
But what's the flavor profile of tuna? Like a canned tuna?
It depends. I'm not talking
solid
about
white albacore
with stuff in it.
No,
I'm not
just
doing that.
No, but I'm saying like just analyze the flavor of the particular seafood and the particular cheese that are going together.
Okay, but I can't do that because I'm not doing the two together. It's a homogeneous, holistic meal.
Sure.
So I can't do that.
Okay,
I can't give you what you want right now.
No,
I'm sorry.
keep talking. We'll get there.
Like whenever I talk about like tuna salad, it's mayonnaise, it's celery, it's onions, it's mayonnaise, it's lemon juice or some sort of acid, and a little bit of sugar, salt, pepper. That's kind of
put sugar in your tuna salad?
People put tuna. Yeah, have you ever had a bite of tuna salad?
Can I tell you something that you've been doing for the last 4 years that's been bothering me, and I've never said it to your face, and it's a very specific cookery thing.
No.
Anytime,
no,
and I'm gonna do it.
I
I'm don't care. This happened recently. No, we're doing this. We're having a little therapy sesh right here.
I don't want it.
We'll make like a burger sauce, and you'll just like add sugar to it. You'll just be like, a quarter teaspoon of sugar. Just like
because
why? And literally last time we're on set.
I'm so sorry.
I watched myself pour in the sugar, and I tasted it, and I was like, it's just sugary now.
Do you want to know
ketchup
why?
has sugar.
Well, I think you're right. No, I think you're
great.
right.
Okay, I'll stop copping out with cream cheese if you stop adding sugar to burger sauce.
I think you're right. No, I think I should stop adding sugar to my burger sauces. I think it's because the Bob's Big Boy one has sugar in it, and I've always like modeled it after that one. I'm sorry.
Sense. No, it's okay.
I'll be better.
Well, no, I'm glad we could have this conversation.
Me too.
Right now, you know?
I'm glad we can have that kind of open dialogue and not like hold grudges and think about it for the rest of our working careers together. That's huge. That's huge.
So you got a little bit of crunch from celery. You got a little bit of crunch from some other aromatics. But like overall,
mayonnaise,
the things
mustard.
Yeah, but the things you're talking about, like those aren't super strong flavor profiles. You're getting a lot of
celery and raw onion.
They are, but I'm saying they don't change the nature of the dynamic between
lies.
Okay, if you were to have think of a bagel and lox, right? The way that I vastly prefer it is tomato, red onion, caper.
Okay.
Throw some fresh herbs on there, whatever. But if I were to have just plain lox, cream cheese, bagel, boom, that's pretty good. If you were to have plain tuna, let's add mayonnaise in there because you need fat for the tuna. Melted with cheese, you'd still probably enjoy it.
I don't think
not
so.
As much. Not as much. You don't think you'd like it at all?
I don't think I would like it at all.
Interesting.
I think I need those extra accoutrement, that extra little bite of the raw onion and the crunch of the celery and the flavor to combat against the cheese and the fish. I think it works well.
What do you think? Do you think the cheese and the fish are bridging a very hard gap? Because for me, canned tuna, it's got a very distinct
flavor. I'm
flavor.
not raw dogging canned tuna, though. I'm really not.
I've raw dogged so much canned tuna
sure
in my
you
day.
have. That's not
oh my god, the protein.
I don't raw dog it like that.
Now I'll just slap it together with some yogurt and hot sauce and just spoon it in my. Well, yeah, if I'm just trying to get protein in me.
Yeah, no.
Again, I have two different foods. I have like medicine foods, which is protein and fiber, and then I have fun foods, which is all the rest of the stuff. And as long as I have my medicine foods, I can have my fun foods.
The two food groups.
The two food groups. Take that, Pythagoras. But like. Tuna it's such a meaty fish. It just tastes like overcooked chicken.
It is very meaty and flaky.
Has a unique flake to it.
Yeah.
And there is a very unique taste to it. You get some metal from the can, but I think tuna does have a bit of a metallic taste too. Tuna is an apex predator.
When I'm thinking of eating tuna.
You're literally eating a bunch of mercury.
Yeah, I love it.
Same. But I'm saying tuna, to me, it's neutral enough to where it blends really well with something like cheddar. Where if you had something like sardines and cheddar, that's like probably pretty good, but also that's probably like a harsher clash. You have strong on strong. Here, the cheddar is flavoring the neutrality of the tuna.
So you think tuna is a neutral fish?
In a canned tuna, bland canned tuna. Yeah, it's not like an ahi, right? Like
Interesting.
canned tuna, we're talking like skipjack kind of stuff.
Interesting. I don't agree with you.
What do you think is a more neutral fish?
I don't think a more neutral fish exists.
So you think all fish is just like very strongly
What's a non-fishy
flavored?
fish?
Non-fishy fish, swordfish.
Orange roughy?
Yeah, or actually, orange roughy, pretty clean eating white fish.
And swordfish?
Like there's a lot of delicate fishy fish.
Mhm.
Like flounder to me is like a very
Okay.
clean white fish.
I'm tasting flounder.
Very pristine, but it's got a flaky texture. There's another cheddar and fish dish that I'm thinking of.
I don't know. What is it?
It's that super bizarre dish. I made it, utter delight. We got to go back throughout history. The salt cod trade dominated the world for 100 years. Bacalao.
I love bacalao.
But for like a long time, right, people just ate cod and
They ate
whatever
whatever.
they had. And it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
mostly cod because there's so freaking much of it. And then they overfished it off the coast of Britain. But anyways, Newfoundland, cod
Okay.
gratin.
Newfoundland is where?
Eastern seaboard of Canada. I'm like pretty sure.
This is Canada?
So there's...
Oh, I know where it is. It's the one that's shaped like this.
Yeah, Canada and the U.S. are like very similar in the sense that you... Right. Draw a line from like Ohio and then go west, and all the states just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
and there's more
okay.
farmland.
Yeah, okay.
Canada's like very similar,
Uh-huh.
where like you just go west and you
What
have.
are the provinces of Canada?
I mean, yeah, like British Columbia. I have Saskatchewan is
It's
probably
okay,
a
you can
thing.
stop. Continue.
Alberta is a thing. But anyways, like you get east and it just gets closer and closer and closer, and there's a lot more sort of history out there, at least European history out there. And so Newfoundland, they have a dish called cod gratin that just has a bunch of cream and cheddar, and you bake it on fish. It is good, and it's like to me the quintessential example of the delicate taste of seafood. Cod is not a fishy fish, right? It doesn't have that like oily.
It's not a fishy fish.
It's
Tuna
very neutral.
Is a very fishy fish. Salmon is a fishy fish.
Okay, let's leave. But like, not all tuna is the same. There's not even anything that necessarily legally binds what a tuna is.
Canned tuna has a distinct taste that can stand up to cheddar cheese.
So you're saying that you go, because there's two different ways too. It's like wine pairing, right? There's two different ways to pair. You can pair like with like, you can pair like with dislike. And as long as it tastes good to you, you're perfectly fine, right? You can pair, and I actually don't like pairing like with like when it comes to wine because I think they cancel each other.
Yeah.
Right? You don't take a blood red cab with a steak. I just don't think it's great because, especially if you have a red wine sauce on the steak, because then you're sort of canceling each other out.
Yeah, okay. This makes sense.
So that's the same thing with food. You can go like with like, or you can go like with dislike. You can go agonist or antagonist here.
Okay. So I think that tuna salad is like, as a total dish, tuna salad with bread and melted cheese works together because the flavors of the tuna and all of the stuff inside of it work alongside and beat against. I think this is an against situation with the cheese.
And you're saying like the celery, the onion, the mayonnaise, the citrus, herbs, whatever, that's like
It
binding.
fights against
that's kind of binding it all.
It fights against the cheddar and makes for a delicious sandwich.
Interesting.
Because I don't think if you had the tuna and cheese, but this is the thing, the tuna and cheese alone would not be a good bite. But the tuna, cheese, bread, everything else makes it a better bite.
Are you sure it wouldn't be a good bite?
I think it'd be.
What if you made a tuna salad and you just like blended cheddar in there? You like think about like a fish dip, right?
But I'm thinking about the warmth, the cold tuna salad.
Well, that's a fun play, but like if there was cold cheddar in there, you just blended cheddar into a tuna salad or very finely grated it maybe. That'd probably be pretty good.
Probably good. Yeah.
Put it on a cracker, dude.
That might be good.
I made like a smoked sturgeon dip with just a bunch of like grated cheese in there.
What about smoked whitefish? Like, does anybody put cheese on smoked?
If you say you shouldn't put cheese on fish, you're anti-Semitic, and we don't mess with anti-Semites in Chilistan. That's why we had the split with the Gaffistan. They were.
I don't know. I think, what the factor is tuna isn't smoked.
Sure.
So I think whenever we go into like smoked fish territory, we can't really put cheese on it.
Don't need to be smoked.
Wait, let me tell you. Smoked whitefish salad tastes gross with a piece of cheese. It tastes probably good with a smear of cream cheese. Same goes for smoked salmon.
I don't think it's just smoked salmon though, because so smoked salmon, there's two kinds of smoked salmon. There's hot smoked salmon, and then there's
cold smoked,
we grew up, which is cold smoked salmon.
Is that Nova? Is that just the type of
I think
fish?
Nova's. Does Nova mean?
Novalux?
Is that from Nova Scotia though? What is Novalux? I never questioned what Novalux actually means.
It is. Why are we talking about Canada so much? It's crazy.
I love Canada, man.
Nova Scotia.
It is from Nova Scotia. Okay. Oh, but it is a method of curing and smoking. So But if you look at like Swedish gravlax, right? So that's not smoked. That's
that
just
is
cured.
not smoked, just cured.
But it's heavily salted, which if you're talking about delicate natures of fish, yada, yada, you salt fish, it literally draws the water out, which condenses the flavors of the fish, adds a huge salty punch.
Sure.
Goes really well with something like a neutral cheese like cream cheese. So it's not just the smoke to me, but as we mentioned, cream cheese is like a far left.
It is.
Case.
That's very far left.
It's the Kinsey one on the spectrum, right?
It's
like, I think Ryan Reynolds is attractive, but like I would never
touch him.
That's like what the cream cheese is on the cheese Kinsey scale.
Agreed.
So I understand that. Other cheese and fish dishes.
Go for it.
My favorite, it is literally it's like a Mexican tuna melt. But tacos de marlin.
Oh, you love that. Well, this totally negates everything I just said about smoked fish and cheese not working. It totally works.
Yeah, this is literally like the best. We had this recently on Matt Pat's last meal.
That's right.
I've eaten this dish tons of times, but I don't know if it was the emotion of the moment. But that was like the best bite of food I've ever had.
Was it?
So it's a marlin. You take a marlin, big old apex predator fish, similar to a tuna, but I think there's more fat in it, at least when you cook it. And they sugar and salt cure it and smoke it. They'll call it jamón del mar. And it literally tastes like ham of the sea. And then you shred that down. You mix it with like some chilies and aromatics. You put that with like a nice white, kind of neutral, but still very cheesy melting cheese, right? Like Monterey Jack or queso Chihuahua is probably what's used. And then you put that hard griddled corn tortilla, dip it in like a limey Serrano salsa, and it's fatty and hammy, uniquely fishy, very cheesy.
Totally.
But the fat of the cheese just combines with that smoke, that fish. Like you can counter heavy with heavy.
You're so right. That totally negates my whole entire spiel. I think it's you know what it is? I think it's the temperature of the white fish and the salmon that completely turns it off. But whenever you melt it all together, like a tuna melt, anything is possible.
Yeah.
The heat actually like mutes the smoke almost. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I know what you mean though.
Whenever you have a bite of like, we've made jamón de mar on the show.
Yeah.
Like if I have a bite of jamón de mar and it's cold, it tastes smokier than the warmed up version. Is that just me?
That's funny. No, that makes sense. Oh,
does that make sense?
You know what it might be? I'm channeling my inner Ariel Johnson here. So that's the opposite of most flavor aroma relationships.
Aldehydes.
What is aldehyde?
I don't know. They keep saying it. They keep saying it.
I don't know what an aldehyde is.
I think it's...
I like remember it from AP Chem, but I got an F in that class.
I think... Can you Google what aldehydes are, Maggie? Because I keep saying it.
If you think, okay, this is the part of chemistry this was the 57% of the chemistry that I did get.
I never took chemistry.
And they gave me an F for getting 57% chemistry. That means I knew most of chemistry.
You knew a lot of it.
That's pretty good. But air molecules vibrate more, rise up to your nose faster, ping around in there. You taste more when things are warm. However, I'm wondering if things that are colder taste smokier because you're tasting less of the other aromas.
I think that's what's happening.
Right?
I think that's what...
You call Ariel on this. I'm going to shoot her a text. I'm just going to shoot her a text. But no, that's interesting. I think it might be the case, but there's so many other dishes. Dude, lobster thermidor.
Oh my God,
lobster thermidor.
I've made it many times.
Gilded age
Big
dish.
Fan.
Why does that work to you?
I think it's because lobster is. When I think of a lobster, when I'm tasting it in my mouth, it's like sweet and delicate and it's oceany but not fishy.
Yeah.
So those are the three flavors I taste, and it's paired traditionally with the cheddar or Edam cheese. What is it?
I thought it was like an Alpine cheese, like a Gruyere or like a Emmental.
Maybe it is. And I think, Emmental has a little bit of funk to it, which I really, really like. So maybe the delicate nature of the lobster works really well with that like funk of the cheese. And then it has all these beautiful aromatics in there. So maybe it's just it's dish dependent, Josh. Maybe it's just dish dependent because you keep saying some really good dishes.
Clam pizza from New Haven. Clam pizza is one of my favorite. A hard pecorino on there.
I love clam pizza.
Dope. Another thing I think about a lot is because if you're using the argument that strong flavors overwhelm fish, miso black cod.
Oh, I love miso black cod.
There is nary a stronger flavor out there than miso. And in fact, it's like maybe a pretty good argument that the reason a lot of East Asia, specifically China and Japan, never developed like dairy is because they got all of the protein and fermenty deliciousness they needed from fermented soy, right?
Probably.
So they're getting all the glutamates. And so miso is like very similar to Parmesan.
Yes.
And on a scientific level
really
too.
Is. Very
it's
umami.
proteins breaking down to glutamates. That's umami. Miso black cod, great. An Italian person, I think, would probably eat. My roommates love miso black cod, but they would never eat Parmesan on black cod, despite the fact that they are very similar. So why? Why Italians? Why?
You can't keep getting mad at Italians. It's bad for our brand.
No, che cosa? Mortacci dua.
Mortacci dua?
Mortacci dua. Can you look up what mortacci dua means? M-O-R-T.
I'm going to guess mortacci.
It's like pretty
death.
I think
death.
Has something to do with ancestors.
Mortacci
but there is like a very good reason why Italians are very protective of their food culture. And I know we talked about this recently with QCP, but I was reading a lot more about it. And Italy was unified super, super late and sort of developed 1889-ish.
Yeah.
And sort of developed this attempt at homogeneity, right?
Yeah.
And then that was just ushered into World War II, and it was like all destroyed. And so now it's like picking up the pieces of what's left. It's like why the Godzilla movies are so rad. You know, it's like Japan trying to reckon with the atomic bomb, and they created a hell of a movie franchise, right? It's
Never seen it.
Italy trying to reckon with what a fractured, then united, then refractured culture looks like, especially when their biggest import and one of their oldest imports is food, right? Food is so important to Italian culture.
It really is.
And so there's this like collective, you know, we're trying to pick up the pieces, you know, and we're trying to sort of like hold this all together and really take pride in it. And so I very, very much respect that. But at the same time, to paint with such broad strokes, right, that cheese and fish never go together, I think is incredibly disrespectful of other cultures where it is normal.
I like cheese and fish.
I like cheese and fish,
You
too.
heard it here first.
I also found there was a couple things that I read. Ken Albala.
Oh, our friend of the show.
He's been on the show before. Very fantastic historian. He also said that the origins might go back to ancient Roman physicians who thought you had to balance the humors. He said,
what does balance the humors mean?
God, the humors, what is it? It's like...
I have lint on my shirt this whole time. You didn't
what
tell me?
Are the humors? The humors are phlegm. It's like phlegm, bile, like spit and blood or something.
Ooh.
And those are the four...
Isn't that
not four humors of that, four humors of the body.
Isn't that the Red Hot Chili Peppers album?
Is it? Black bile, choleric, blood. Yeah, and for phlegm, I don't know. And you got to like balance them all via diet. And so Ken said cheese digests very slowly and would hamper the transformation of the fish, which very easily corrupts. That means spoils. That is, it would go bad long before it could fully be broken down. And then that corrupt fish would be forced into the liver, be transformed into corrupt blood, and ruin the entire digestive process. So if we're talking about ancient Roman history, those general rules may have just sort of carried for thousands of years, and it just transforms into a waiter at a trattoria refusing to put Parmesan on your farm-raised tilapia.
Tilapia?
And then I found another just Reddit user. I just want to credit this.
I actually
Reddit. thought this is really smart. This is just Reddit user C Nash. It's not complicated. The rules are what's customary. What's customary is what's convenient and local, and you can't pasture cows in the ocean. There's a culinary tradition in places with a lot of grazing land and a culinary tradition in places with a good harbor. And that's probably where this comes from, right? Especially a place whose economy is so based on food. You know, there's people that live on the coast, they ain't raising cows. People that are raising cows, they ain't eating as much fish. They all sort of develop their separate rules. And a place in Italy where they hold on to their traditions so strongly, despite the fact that carbonara is only 70 years old and tomatoes are not native to Italy. But a place that holds on to tradition so much. I understand the gatekeeping, but live a little bit, eat some lobster mac and cheese. Sorry, macaroni formaggi, tutto bene. Nicole, what's the worst decision you've ever made in your life?
Oh, God, do you have like 30 minutes?
Mine was in 8th grade when I decided to take French instead of Spanish.
My sister did that.
I grew up in Southern California. They're like, French looks better on job. But what? Nobody cares. I live in Southern California. Mexico's a hop, skip, and a jump away. I have tons of friends whose Spanish is their first language. I love Mexican food more than any other cuisine. I traveled to Mexico, and I cannot speak the language, and it really bothers me. I have like a deep sense of shame about it, but I've decided now that in my old, wise age of 32, I'm going to start learning on Rosetta Stone, and I'm very excited about it, right? Because not only that, you can actually order in restaurants fluently, and you can actually communicate with people, and it's a culture that means a whole lot to me, and I've been surrounded by my whole life, and I'm very excited to use all the features on Rosetta Stone to actually finally learn properly, not just the slang that I grew up with and vague kitchen Spanish. So Nicole, that's why we are introducing Rosetta Stone as the most trusted language learning program available on desktop or as an app, and that truly immerses you in the language you want to learn. With our deal, you can get a lifetime membership with all 25 languages for 50% off, which pretty good deal, man.
That is a steal, Josh, and I love how easy the interface is to use. I just love how I can just pop on my computer, put my headphones on, and just totally be immersed in the language. It has desktop and app options with audio companion and ability to download lessons offline, making it super convenient. It's also got a built-in true accent feature that gives you feedback on your pronunciation so you can work on your accent.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, it's an intuitive process, right? They help you pick up the language naturally. First you got words, then phrases, and then full sentences. And it's actually designed for long-term retention. You're not just memorizing Donde está la biblioteca over here.
So if you want to join millions of users by learning one or more of the 25 languages offered, get Rosetta Stone today. They have Spanish, French, Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, Polish, and more.
Yeah, don't be like me and put off learning that language. There's no better time than right now to get started. And for a very limited time, a Hot Dog is a Sandwich listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. So visit rosettastone.com/hotdog.
That's 50% off, unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/hotdog today.
All right, Nicole, we've heard what you and I have to say. Now it's time to find out what other wacky opinions are rattling out there in the universe. It's time for a segment we call Opinions Are Like Casseroles.
I have a question. What language do you guys speak in Chilistan?
What?
What language do you guys speak in Chilistan?
Oh, we just call it Chilistani.
Oh, Chilistan.
Yeah. It's like...
Can you give me how do you say, where is the bathroom?
Yeah. Dude, gotta rip a piss. Or in like the more colloquial, like, hey, gotta drain the lizard, dude. Where's the piss bucket?
Wow.
Yeah. You got any other brain busters for me? I'm not fluent. It's like I can understand it.
Oh, yeah, because you're first gen.
Because
you're first gen.
Yeah,
I get
classic.
it. I get it.
Children of immigrants, right? I am, though. I am a children of, and mom. It's South Africa. It's not. But we spoke.
Can we please get to the first opinion? He's scrambling.
I didn't mean to.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Iowa. I just wanted to say that as a bearded man, I love bone-in wings, but I can never order them in public for fear of looking like a toddler eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
I much prefer bone-in wings to boneless wings, but when I'm eating them at like a Buffalo Wild Wings or a Wingstop, which Wingstop is better?
Agreed. I agree. Buffalo
I gotta
Wild
go
Wings
bone-in
more
or boneless.
TVs. I have a couple questions here. I understand that, and I feel like you've expressed similar things with not wanting to smear if you're heavily made up.
Yeah.
But that's if you're going to like an event. Like I remember the Streamies, you look great, but you were being very careful about the size of things you put in your mouth. This man's Kyle from Iowa is at a Buffalo Wild Wings. My guy, there are no rules in a Buffalo Wild Wings. If you think you look silly at a Buffalo Wild Wings, there is a blacked out Raiders fan dry heaving while trying to eat like Blue Nami burger or whatever. That's Islands, not B-dubs, but you see the point.
Hi, Josh and Nicole. This is Kelly from Connecticut. I'm calling with an opinion about macaroni cake, or spaghetti cake as my mom always called it.
Huh?
I think it's such an underrated dessert, and it's such an Italian quintessential Nonna's recipe, but we should see it in more Italian restaurants and just widely let the world know that sweet spaghetti exists. That's all. Thank you guys. I love you. Bye.
I don't think macaroni cake exists.
What the hell are you talking about?
I've never heard of macaroni cake.
We're all scrambling to Google macaroni cake dessert.
I found something on Reddit, again. My grandma, born in 1916, used to make a cake with cooked macaroni inside and a bland sauce to go on top. I loved it, and I've yet to find a recipe for it. Any suggestions? I've never heard of this, But I will say sweet pasta had kind of like a resurgence in like 2012 with like Nutella pasta and like stuff like that. I don't get it. I'm so sorry. I'm sure it's great and I would probably love it. They do a lot of, I think in Romania or Poland, they take macaroni and then they have milk and sugar. But I've never heard of this macaroni cake that you speak of, unfortunately. So I can't help you, love. Can't do it. Can't really do it, love.
I found, okay, hold on. I'm searching replica of my grandma's recipe, tweaked a little since she didn't leave us an actual recipe classic. It's sort of a pudding or custard type dessert, not too sweet, very creamy. This is, okay, you cook macaroni al dente and drain, whisk eggs, milk, cream, sugar, vanilla in a bowl, cooked and drained macaroni, pour in a rectangle baking pan, and bake. So this is how you would make, I just read about this Normandy rice pudding dish.
This is Kugel.
Yeah, this is Kugel.
Kugel.
Oh my God, it's Kugel.
Is macaroni?
This is Jew. This is Jew.
It maybe you can just yell at someone.
This is Jew.
Josh, this podcast has been so Jewish.
I know, it's great. But no, so noodle Kugel is a very, very sweet. Central European Jewish dish. And it's the same recipe. It's just sugar, eggs, pasta, baked.
I would wonder if this person has Jewish Italian roots or Roman Jewish roots.
Same. There's a lot of Roman
Call
Jews
back and let us know. Maggie, remember. Don't cut this.
really, really awesome looking Normandy rice pudding dish that I just found out about called Turgul. Turgul. Dargul, but you bake it until it caramelizes. Nicole, look at this.
I know,
it's just like milk and rice, just baked until caramelized.
It's creme brulee.
Oof. I would love to try macaroni cake, though. I agree. In sweet pasta, if you'd make rice pudding, you should make macaroni pudding. This is awesome.
Hey, Nicole and Josh. This is Kazi from Brooklyn, New York. Originally from Bangladesh. And
cool.
I grew up eating Bengali foods, which includes a lot of fish and rice. But I always wanted to be more American. So I did something what my whole community shunned me for. So was adding ketchup.
I knew this was going to go down the ketchup route.
I loved adding ketchup to rice.
Ketchup to rice?
Weird? Oh my God. I don't know. I also added it to every kind of seafood you can think of. And,
okay, we're going to do this.
I also added to curry. I don't know. Seemed good to me. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
So funny.
So this is very, very, very relatable. I don't know what first gen Chilistan, like if they have that stuff, but so
now we eat a lot of ketchup. In Chilistan.
Yeah. Nice job, bro. So sick. So a lot of my friends and a lot of people that that were like first gen or they would come to America from Iran, they would put ketchup on everything. Ketchup on rice. Ketchup on pizza, ketchup on just anything. I don't know if a lot of times they would put it on Persian food and stews. That was never really the thing, but definitely ketchup and rice was very, very popular amongst first gen or fresh off the boat people. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what it is. I think it's wanting to be American.
Yeah.
Like desperately wanting to be American, but also the flavor of ketchup is really, really... How do I explain this? It's kind of like the best condiment.
Well, ketchup is a chutney.
It's
right?
a chutney,
It is literally a chutney.
Sure, it's a chutney.
If you were to go off
Fair.
of... Yeah.
Fair. And I think it's so crazy how ketchup is like this unifier between like first gen kids that come here. Because let me tell you, the amount of times... I wasn't the biggest ketchup and rice fan, but ketchup and rice and ketchup on pizza and ketchup on anything that was a carb was very, very, very popular. So I don't think you're weird. I think it's really cool. And also, I've never had Bangladeshi food, and I think I really freaking should because I would love it.
Oh, Bengali food rules.
What's the difference between like Bengali food?
I mean, Bangladesh just has so much coastline that there's just
lots of fish.
Oh my God.
Like they said, yeah.
Dude, the best fish. No, not kaki fry. Kaki fry is Indian. But anyway, also, sovereignty politics.
Sure,
it's all
that's
tough.
also, yeah.
But there is a Bengali tomato chutney called Kedger.
Kedger, okay.
Which is like the actual recipe is like somewhat similar to ketchup.
That's funny.
Ketchup has actually a deceptive amount of spice. And I know now it's all homogenized, Heinz, whatever. But I grew up eating at my buddy Deep's house, who's Gujarati, and his mom would always make what they called idra, but I think a lot of the rest of South Asia calls it dokli.
Okay, never heard of it.
It's just like a steamed, kind of sour, fermented
idli?
rice cake. It's similar to idli.
Oh my
similar
God.
to idli.
I love idli.
It's
I was
so good.
raised on idli too.
And, like you said, a lot of immigrant, especially kids, want to assimilate, and ketchup is like the assimilation food.
That's right.
And then me growing up like without any sort of food culture to speak of, I always just wanted to expound. And so I would eat the idra with, green chutney, and Deep's mom would stare on and approve. And then Deep would dip it in ketchup as she'd shake her head.
Cute.
And it's this kind of very simplistic dichotomy that you see a lot, which is very funny. And again, we all sort of use food as a tool to communicate cultural meaning in a lot of ways.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, ketchup tastes good, man.
Ketchup tastes good.
It's a chutney.
Hi, Josh. Hi, Nicole. I had a tuna sandwich today on a croissant, and I just barely realized that instead of putting potato chips on it, you should try putting Goldfish snack track Oh, frick.
Goldfish snack.
Was that a
snackers.
child?
I believe that was a child.
I love kids so much. I'm gonna do this. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Shush, we're doing it.
Well, we're doing it, but I'm saying they actually had a very astute observation here.
What was that?
And I'll tell you why.
Croissant?
So, the croissant one, I love me a croissant sandwich. One of my favorite things was a curried chicken salad on a croissant from Cinnamon Productions.
Very South
down in Rancho
African
Santa
of you.
Margarita. Isn't it? Oh, God,
Curry
it sure
chicken
is.
salad.
Oh,
Y'all love curry chicken salad.
Ooh, boy, do they. A very mild curry. But anyways, my Aunt Judy used to say, if you use a croissant instead of bread for something like a tuna sandwich, which already has fat in it, then you're adding deep fried potato chips to it, you're getting sort of fat at every layer. So you're getting the greasiness of the croissant, which is good. And the creaminess,
Also, it's probably a croissant from like Costco. It's
100%.
not like a flaky like situation. Yeah.
Whereas if you were using a bread that doesn't have much fat in it, that would work. So I love what you did. You took a baked chip, something that also cheese and fish.
Yum.
Goldfish, cracker, it's a good combo. You took something that already has fat in it and then used a baked cracker instead of a fried chip. That's sort of going to give you a little bit of that reprieve, that little starchiness to cut that fat. That is a very smart decision. You were going to be a great
doing
chef.
it. That sounds really good. I can't believe I've never done that before. Why have we never done that before?
I don't know. I want that sandwich right now.
Croissant, tuna, goldfish.
I haven't made a sandwich on a croissant in so long.
Me either. The reason why is because I actually had one in culinary school, and it was like a tuna croissant sandwich, and then I found a long, thick, black hair in it.
Is it yours?
No.
You sure?
It was not.
Do you match it?
It was not.
Like when a dog bites somebody, you got to hold his teeth up to the bite marks?
No. We're talking about yay long.
Oh.
Black.
No, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
So I haven't had a croissant sandwich in like 10 years.
How are they laminating the dough? What were they using?
God knows.
Well, what are the chances of getting to? That's our other export from Chilistan.
What?
We pronounce.
Oh, got it.
Well, then
it sounded a lot like
great,
Kazakhstan, man. It sounded a lot like Kazakhstan.
No, Chilistan, dude. Chilistan.
Sorry, I always get them mixed up.
Our national slogan is just sack. Sack, dude.
I wish you all the best
Sack.
in your endeavors in Chilistan.
Sack, dude. You should come visit, man.
I really don't want to.
You
What's
get
your
freaking
capital city?
pitted.
What's your capital city?
What?
What's your capital city?
Oh, it's actually DeGaffisburg. It's
I see.
No, I know. A lot of complicated political history there.
No way.
I know. It's really crazy.
I think my cousin went to Bruh.
No, Tech or no, not college.
No. The city of
that's
Bruh.
a university. It's like Uppsala. It's like there's a lot of
it's a
big education system there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, mostly parties.
Mostly that makes sense why you went there.
A lot of drinking. Yeah, our official beer is actually just Coors Light still. We don't brew our own.
You don't brew your own. Yeah.
They did it better.
Makes sense whenever you told all the Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. On that note, thank you so much.
If this is the podcast that gets us canceled, I've enjoyed every moment doing this,
we're begging
Josh.
for it. Someone do it so we can rest. On that note, thank you for listening to A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. We got new audio-only episodes every Wednesday and a video version here on YouTube every Sunday.
If you want to be featured on Opinions or like Casseroles, please call us and leave a message at 833-DOGPOD1.
And for more Mythical Kitchen, check out our other videos where we launch new episodes every week. See y'all next time.
Bye.
India, I believe, is called Hindustan at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
A lot of stans. Stan means state.
Yes.
That's the joke. So, like Chilistan means just like
state
a chill
of
state.
chill.
Yeah. Whereas like the current stans, they're just all sort of in Central Asia.
Isn't it like languages? Like Tajikistan? The language Tajik.
A lot of Tajikistani Jews.
Are there?
Yeah, bringing it back to the
They're
Jews.
called Bukharians,
Yeah,
right?
the Bukhari, yeah,
Mountain
yeah.
Bukharian Jews. I went on a date with a Bukharian Jew.
Yeah, hot.
He was a doctor.
Ooh.
He ghosted me. Look at me now! Declan? Was that his name?